in regards to BDSM. And there was, Oasis did have a lot of videos on explaining it. I was a part of a panel of discussing,
I remember.
BDSM and everything like that. So what is your take on it? Like, are you into extreme BDSM or like in your personal sex life?
What would you define as extreme? That's the first question for everyone. I remember going to my first kink workshop and someone told, like, for the uninitiated, there's flagging orange. And flagging orange is something that in the BDSM community you don't do unless you are serious, because means orange means no limits.
So red is complete stop.
No, I'm not sure what the red flag is, to be honest, because there's so many reds. But orange is the one that people recognize, and I still remember the individual who told me, like, never flag orange unless you are absolutely certain, because your orange might not be somebody else's orange.
Yeah,
my orange might be, or correction, your orange might be, oh, I'm gonna slap you around a little bit, and you can call me daddy. And my orange, like
punch.
Well, my orange might be like putting a knife in your throat and saying, you're not allowed to cough. So that. So what is your definition of extreme kink?
I would think that's extreme. Like,
I'm not into
the knife to the throat is pretty extreme.
Yeah, I'm not the edge play type, but
edge play, that's good.
I enjoy a little bit of kink, but I would never flag orange.
It just seems. Yeah, Friday.
Sorry,
you're orange.
I have no comment on the orange or no orange, but I will say from like the people, because there's a lot of people, for lack of a better words, that watch us from the hood and stuff like that, right? However, and sometimes these types of subjects are a little bit like, oh my God.
Stigmatized. Right? They don't understand it.
However, there's a lot of... There has been women that I've met in the past. I don't want to say a lot. I'm making myself sound like a big old hoe.
Do tell.
Or a sexually free man, right? But I've heard women tell me, yo, if the guy puts a gun to my head while I'm fucking, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, that's BDSM.
Orange?
Now when you guys are explaining BDSM, that's BDSM.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, put a fucking gun to my head. Like, sorry, shorty, I'm not doing that to you.
And then fuck me and then talk dirty to me at the same time. Tell me you want to like hurt me in how many ways.
I might hurt you if the shit goes off.
I don't care, daddy.
We might not make it through this one.
I mean, risk-aware consensual kink. Like, as long as you're risk-aware. No, that's not a good quote.
Risk aware. But the thing about BDSM and that realm of fetishes is that it has to be two-way. There has to be an understanding and the knowledge behind it. You can't go into a situation knowing that your fetish is all on point and it's lit in your head and you're like, I'm just going to do this. And the person that you're trying to do it with doesn't understand what their role is. It's all about role playing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You got to know what your role is.
Yeah. Oh, man. And like one of the biggest problems in
him bringing out the gun and he's not saying nothing and she's like, what are you doing? I thought you would like this.
Thought you were into this.
One of the, like, I've been in a number of different kink communities, and I can't say that I'm I'm not a super kinky person myself. I like a lot of different kinks, but I'm not super into it. Mm-hmm. In terms of, I'm not going for the really intense scenes. And
ropes.
Ropes are great. Ropes are awesome, but ropes can go from like a wrist cuff to suspending your partner with meat hooks. Like there's a
from the nipples and everything.
Exactly. And like I've watched that and it's awesome. I'm not able to do that safely.
But the skin can rip. Like you can have
you'd be surprised.
And then there's like the level of extreme BDSM with like whipping and blood, like that whole extreme deviance and all that, sexual deviance and all that stuff. Like it just, there's levels to it. So
absolutely. There's levels to everything. And quite frankly, like people often get caught up on blood, and blood's a big thing because there's a lot of risk with blood and fluid bonding for making sure that people are safe and not doing anything that can transmit and that sort of thing. But like people always see blood as the big one. And
the red flag.
The red flag.
The stop.
And honestly, we do that at Oasis as well because blood's hard to clean. You need special certifications and all that sort of thing. We don't allow that. But in a lot of the kink communities, it's not necessarily that big of a thing. If you're beating someone and they start to bleed, well, you just put a bandage on it and you're good to go.
And there are people that don't have that filter, because a lot of people like being spanked, and then it's like you can be paddled and spanked enough to the point where your skin will start to tear. Yeah. Right. And there's levels to it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the biggest thing is knowing what you're doing, knowing what your partner's
safe words.
Well, yeah, like safe words, like bare minimum. Safe words for even if you're putting like the little fluffy cuffs on in the bedroom. Safe words are a must. But knowing where you're at, knowing where your partner's at, knowing how to deal with when they call their safe word or their
to actually pay attention to.
Yeah, and knowing what you're into, big thing. I don't know. Again, I'm trailing off. I could talk about kink for days, and I'm not even that into it. I've just witnessed a lot of it.
But it's the knowledge of it, right? And this is what inspires people to want to hear conversations like that, like this, which is what we do on the show. We're very open, transparent about sexuality, fetishes, and all of that. And sometimes when people hear people talking about it so comfortably, they can digest it. And like Friday was saying, there is a huge urban demographic that watches this show. Like all the shows, first of all. And a lot of people, for instance, I could say in the Black community, when it comes to sex, they have stops. And I think a lot of people have stops because they don't know that you can go around it or it's safe and there's rules, right? Having safe words and understanding things. So a lot of the questions I've asked some of the other guests was if they're into like handcuffing and stuff like that. And a lot of people right away, especially the men, no. And you have to wonder if they understand that there's a sexual piece to it. It's not just getting arrested. You know what I mean?
Fair.
So nobody likes the idea of handcuffs for jail purposes and stuff, but like there's an element of kink and fetish and role play into that. So how would you communicate that, handcuffs are kind of safe place sometimes?
I mean, the best thing that you can do is trust your partner, right? Like if you trust your partner,
it's all about the partner, who you're with, because a lot of guys are worried about being handcuffed to a bed and then the girl leaving.
Right. I mean, if you feel that that's a reasonable experience or a reasonable fear, don't fucking do it.
Save the fuck.
Yeah.
Don't fuck.
Just don't do it. But I mean, for me, ropes are a good way to transition. Like handcuffs is like, especially handcuffs or shackles or whatever it may be, they carry a weight to them. Like a physical weight and like an emotional weight. But like ropes, you can design ropes in a way that you can just pull on them in a way if you're not comfortable. And even, if you're in the scene and you're the person shackled, you pull on them, they're done.
That's like Navy stuff, like rope tying and all that. Not tying. I had a little bit of experience, but that was like way back in cadet days.
Oh, you were a cadet?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Can I throw a quick question in there?
Yeah.
Because I've heard you describe like sexual encounters as scenes a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Is that just something that just you do that, or is there a reason for that?
So yeah, the common term within the BDSM community is, you're going to design a scene, and a scene is, a pre-discussed set of, either actions or scenarios that someone or some group or, an individual said, like, these are the things that I'm okay with. These are the things that I'm not okay with. This is what I plan to do. This is how I plan for it to go. And it sounds kind of pedantic and not super sexy, but it's the way you kind of...
50 Shades of Grey, perfect example. The contract.
Ooh, I hate
But there's rules, and I'm not...
reference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say 50 Shades, not a great reference because they break all the rules in that. And
they fall in love, and then, all this great stuff.
The love is fine. It's just, they make the rules, and then they go, fuck the rules. But yeah, you're like, the baseline is there. Yeah, like you make these rules, and you create this kind of scenario, a scene, and you play through it, and then afterwards, especially in the kink community, you make sure that the scene went well, and if things didn't go well, you discuss it. And yeah, it seems pedantic, and it seems kind of,
Think of it like this, like a porno. Sometimes you have the clips of like a behind the scenes where the guests kind of talk after and say, oh, it was great, I did this, but the rules are discussed in advance. So for instance, with BDSM and fetishes, it's like if you're a dominant or a submissive, those two defining character traits have to be identified. So if you know you're the dominant person, you know what the submissive person is willing to accept in regards to their discipline or their pleasure play and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and none of this has to be filmed.
None of it. No.
There's
It's just for people in their own bedroom, but the scene is just like, it's almost like the mood, like setting the mood for sex and stuff like that. Some people plan it. Some people be like, oh, let's go to, you know, a hotel and let's, you know, wear lingerie. Like that's a scene.
It's just terminology that the partners are using within each other.
Absolutely. And like in the kink community specifically, a scene it's, I don't want to call it like a sacred thing, but a scene is, you know, a predefined set of parameters that you're going to work within for an interaction. And people call it a scene because it's just that. It's defined, and you know, you want to make sure that you follow all those parameters and don't push anyone out of what they're expecting, because that's when people get a really, really bad association with different kink things or different scenarios. And it's also where you draw the line between somebody doing kinky things and somebody doing sexual assault.
Torture and abuse, yeah. And it's just like even regular people having sex. It's like guy and girl go to fuck, and then, you know, girl doesn't want to do what guy wants because guy wants to pull hair and, you know, force an aggressive way of having sex and stuff. And then it's just like, and it happens with couples that are married or people that are dating. Like you can have an intimate moment with somebody and then it can change so fast, 0 to 100, because you're having sex with somebody you don't really want to have sex with, and then they start taking it to the next level, and then you're not fully consensual with the level they're taking it to, and then it becomes a sexual assault situation. And that can happen with people that are in a relationship because there's levels to it. Once you say no, it means no.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and there's, I guess, the communication as well. Like you could have both people who are completely consenting, but then one person might not be into what the other person's into, and it wasn't communicated ahead of time. This is people, from what I'm getting from our conversation here, outside of the BDSM community.
Oh, absolutely. Like
that should just communicate with each other. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And then like when we link up, this is what we're going to do when we fuck.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, once you're with a partner, you can not necessarily go through the whole communication and contract series. But yeah, in general,
most people don't like to talk about it. And it's just like even talking about sexual health. A lot of people want to fuck and get into it. But when it comes to the real things, like, have you ever been tested? God forbid. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to talk about that?
I mean, one of my favorite introductions, one of my favorite things that I've ever learned from a sexual health educator is the elevator speech. And that's how much information can you fit in the ride of an elevator to make sure that you're ready to fuck someone. I think it was Reed Malco. Reed, if you're listening to this, you're a hot man. But you know, it's you think about, you know, the maximum number of things that you want to share with your partner in the ride of an elevator, and the number of things that they can share with you before you're ready to fuck them. You've been tested recently. What are you into? What are your safe words? What are your relationship parameters?
Are you seeing somebody like?
Yeah, relationship parameters.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I ain't mad at it.
I know. And again, the fine line. So in regards to you seeing a lot of the nude guests and everything that came through the doors of Oasis, would you consider yourself a voyeur?
Oh, absolutely.
No hesitation.
Oh my God, yeah. Even now that Oasis is like, I'm a voyeur for my fucking partner. She's got her own OnlyFans, and I'm sitting there just subscribed, simping like there's no tomorrow.
Simping. This is the title Friday. Simping ain't easy.
Simping ain't easy. It's expensive, let me tell you.
Oh, man. So you're her biggest subscriber. I like that.
I hope so. Actually, no, I hope not. I hope somebody else is balling more than me.
And supporting her. Nice.